The sirens screamed through the narrow streets of a small coastal town in Oregon, slicing the night open like a warning sent too late, and in that moment, before the flames were even visible, Grace knew her life was about to change in a way she could never undo. Heat wasn't just rolling off the fire that night, it was building inside her chest, a dangerous, silent burn she had been pretending not to feel for months. Before the story pulls you deeper into the smoke and the sparks, take a moment, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in love that finds its way even through fear, to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Grace Thompson had joined Station 14 in Ashland, Oregon, to prove something to herself, not to anyone else. She was strong, disciplined, and fiercely private, carrying her faith quietly like a small flame she protected from the wind. Firefighting wasn't just a career, it was a calling, one that demanded bravery without asking permission to be afraid. The station was her sanctuary, a place where rules were clear and trust was earned through action. What Grace never planned for was Hannah Miller. Hannah arrived in late autumn, transferred from a larger department in California after a wildfire took everything she thought defined her. She was calm in a way that unsettled people, with eyes that had seen too much and a smile that appeared rarely but honestly. From the first call they ran together, Grace noticed how Hannah moved through chaos like she belonged there, how she carried herself with humility rather than arrogance. The attraction didn't announce itself loudly, it settled quietly, like embers beneath ash. Their days blurred into routines of training drills, shared exhaustion, and unspoken understanding. In the firehouse kitchen, the air was often thick with the smell of coffee and damp gear, and Grace found herself listening for Hannah's footsteps without realizing why. Faith had taught Grace discipline, sacrifice, and restraint, but it hadn't prepared her for the confusion of feeling something that didn't fit neatly into the life she thought God wanted for her. The town they served was the kind where everyone knew everyone, where church pews were full on Sundays and gossip traveled faster than wildfire in dry season. Grace had grown up here, baptized in the same river that now reflected emergency lights during night calls. Hannah was an outsider, welcomed but not truly known, and that distance gave Grace a strange sense of safety. If anything went wrong, it wouldn't trace back to her roots. The first real test came during a warehouse fire on the edge of town. Flames roared high, metal screamed as it warped, and smoke swallowed the sky. Inside that burning maze, Grace lost her bearings for a terrifying moment, her oxygen alarm shrieking like a heartbeat out of control. Then Hannah was there, steady hands guiding her out, her presence cutting through panic with terrifying clarity. Later, as the fire died and dawn crept in, Grace couldn't stop shaking, not from fear, but from the realization that Hannah had become something she depended on. That dependence scared her more than any blaze ever had. Grace prayed harder, longer, asking for guidance, for the feelings to pass, for the path to straighten itself. She volunteered for extra shifts, avoided quiet moments, buried herself in service. But fire, she knew, doesn't disappear just because you refuse to look at it. It waits. Hannah, for her part, carried her own burdens. Her past had taught her the cost of honesty in places that weren't ready for it, and she had learned how to keep parts of herself hidden without losing her integrity. She respected Grace's boundaries instinctively, sensing the conflict beneath her composed exterior. Their connection remained unspoken, living in long looks, shared silence after calls, and the way they checked on each other without making it obvious. When a historic church caught fire during a winter storm, the whole town seemed to hold its breath. It was the same church where Grace had been confirmed, married friends, and buried loved ones. Fighting that fire felt personal, and when a beam collapsed unexpectedly, trapping Grace beneath debris, fear finally broke through her control. In that moment, pinned and running out of air, she wasn't thinking about doctrine or expectations. She was thinking about Hannah. The rescue was brutal and narrow. Hannah refused to leave her side, even when ordered to rotate out, her determination cutting through protocol just enough to save Grace's life. The aftermath left Grace hospitalized, bruised but alive, and forced into stillness she had been avoiding. Lying in that sterile room, she confronted the truth she could no longer outrun. Love, she realized, wasn't a betrayal of faith. Recovery was slow, marked by physical therapy and long walks along the river where Grace prayed not for escape, but for courage. She thought about the way Jesus loved without condition, how he stepped toward people rather than away from them. The question shifted from why she felt this way to what she was going to do with it. Returning to the station weeks later, Grace felt exposed and reborn all at once. Hannah greeted her with the same quiet warmth as always, but something between them had changed. The unspoken tension no longer felt like a threat, it felt like possibility. Trust, earned in fire, is not easily broken. Their love did not arrive in a dramatic confession or public declaration. It grew in acts of care, in shared meals after long shifts, in the way they chose each other every day despite the risks. They moved carefully, aware of the environment they were in, but no longer ashamed. Grace's faith deepened rather than fractured, reshaped by compassion and honesty. Hannah found a home not just in the town, but in Grace's unwavering commitment to both love and integrity. Challenges didn't vanish. There were whispers, awkward silences, and moments of doubt. But there were also allies, quiet acceptance, and a growing understanding that courage takes many forms. Saving lives wasn't just about running into burning buildings, sometimes it meant standing still and telling the truth. As seasons changed and wildflowers returned to hills once scorched, Grace and Hannah stood together during another call, watching smoke dissipate into clear blue sky. The heat of the moment no longer frightened Grace. She had learned that fire, when respected and guided, can warm rather than destroy. If this story has reached something tender inside you, if it reminded you that love can be both brave and gentle, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe. Your engagement tells us these stories matter. Before the ending, we have a special request for you. Please comment below with a word that describes what this story made you feel. Grace often thought back to that first night of sirens and smoke, understanding now that some moments aren't meant to be survived unchanged. They are meant to transform us. In choosing love, she hadn't lost her faith or her purpose. She had found a deeper version of both, standing strong beside the woman who walked with her through fire and into the light beyond it.